Hey YouTube family, it's your girl Cindy. Welcome back to my channel. On this channel, we break down relationship dynamics in real life and on TV. Check out my playlist in the description after this video. Today I will be reviewing Married at First Sight Season 13, Episode 7. The honeymoon is finally over. The couples are visiting each other's homes. They're getting ready to live together for the next 7 weeks, and there are dogs, just like it was last season. Let's jump right in. We're going to get started with our spicy couple, Rachel and Jose. So they go to Jose's house, and of course everything looks perfect, and he mentions he doesn't believe in using the dishwasher, and you know, I actually don't believe in that either. I use my dishwasher as a storage for my pots. But anyway, his house looks like it could be in one of those homes magazines. It doesn't look lived in, and he'll be in for a nice surprise once they actually have kids, because trying to keep your home immaculate after you have kids is just almost impossible. But Jose is rigid and needs to loosen up a bit. I like to budget, but his financial breakdown on the wall did look a bit intimidating, and I hope he will be patient with Rachel because he's got really high expectations. So they go to Rachel's house, which I thought was cute. But when Rachel's mom and her friend told Jose about her having a hoarding problem, I thought when they walked in, there was going to be things all over the place, but her space was tidy, and they were dead wrong for telling Jose what they said. She does collect and bring back something from all the places she has traveled to, and I actually do the same, but Jose is not feeling it. She has a pencil collection, and he was thinking, dang girl, how many pencils do you need? He will need to let her be who she is and accept that they are not going to be the same exact person. They started talking about her alarms. Now, I use the snooze button a few times each morning, but she seems to go overboard with the alarms, and Jose was not happy at all with all the alarms going off the next morning. I could see how that could be extremely annoying. Hopefully she will figure out a way to use less alarms. They get a visit from Pastor Cal, and they tell him about their immediate connection and how happy they are, and they admitted that they had consummated their marriage. I'm wondering if it was during the honeymoon or if it was the first night they spent together in their new apartment. Jose brings up the finances, and Pastor Cal encourages him to let Rachel push him out of his comfort zone. I think they could balance each other out if Jose keeps an open mind. Rachel seems to want to work with him, but hopefully she doesn't lose herself trying to please him as she has done in her previous relationships. But I do see some hope for these two. Next we have Mirla and Gil. So Gil had carried her into their suite after the wedding, and he also did it as they entered their new apartment, but she was telling the camera that she feels that gesture is corny. She is such a Debbie Downer, and she likes to shut things down. Gil laid across the bed and jokingly said, you know, this is where all the magic will happen, and she tells the camera, we're still strangers, he needs to slow down. At what point will she stop calling him a stranger? This reminds me of Jeffy and Shawnice from season 6 when he kept calling her a stranger. If you're going to sign up for Married at First Sight, why be so closed off and guarded? Do these people understand this is an accelerated process? I just don't get it. So they go to her apartment, which was very small, not what I was imagining at all. I thought she was going to be in a penthouse luxurious space since she's so highbrow, but her apartment was underwhelming. Even her closet wasn't giving me luxury vibes. I mean, yeah, she had some red bottoms, but I wasn't impressed, and all the pictures of herself on her walls was of herself. Conceited much? So they visit Gil's place, and not much was shown. They focused on the dog. She, of course, complained about the dog smell, and she didn't really want to be near the dog. I have to say, if a dog was forced upon me, I would feel some type of way, because living with a dog is a deal breaker for me. I am not an animal person, and I'm not here for all those doggy kisses. Sorry, dog lovers. So Mirla was like, the kiss that is coming is now going to take even longer after she saw Gil kissing the dog. That would have turned me off as well. But girl, you're not kissing Gil because you're just not that into him. I don't understand why it's been a week now and you still have not even given him a peck on the lips. So they meet with Pastor Cal, and Pastor Cal brought up intimacy. Gil jokingly said that they cuddle and that's pretty much the climax, and Pastor Cal was like, that's no climax. Pastor Cal was questioning Mirla about it. She didn't really have anything to say, and Gil mentioned that if they don't kiss before decision day, he will ask for a divorce, and I don't blame him. Who is sitting around cuddling with their husband and not kissing them? That's crazy. They also talk about her spending habits, and Pastor Cal had to let her know she has to transition from single life activities to married life activities. I don't think she understands what it means to come together as one. People always want to get married but don't want to make any changes or compromise. Just stay by yourself. These two are just not going to make it. And I feel bad for Gil because I think he is into Mirla and he's trying to be patient with her, but she is just not budging, and it's just, there's no way that these two can survive if she continues to behave in this way. On to Brett and Ryan. Unlike Mirla, Brett is thinking about how she needs to be considerate and not just do things that she's used to doing as a single person. She seems to understand that she has to make some adjustments. They go to her place and it's cute, nicely decorated and girly. Ryan mentioned he liked Brett's decor, and then he said he probably needs some color in his life. You think? So when they visited Ryan's place, it was beige and dry as his personality. It was spacious and clean, but it was just like blah. Everything was pretty much brown. And then they walked into his room and there was a deer head on the wall. Definitely creepy. I was not a fan at all. But I'm glad when Brett asked him if he was willing to put the deer head somewhere else, he said that he could put it in the garage. Had he said he needed to keep that deer head in the bedroom, I think Brett would have lost her mind. So they both have dogs. She has a small one and he has a big fluffy one. They decide to let the dogs meet outside, and Brett's little dog was a bit feisty. So she was a little concerned about how the dogs would get along. And Ryan is in his confessional saying she's high strung and needs to relax. I don't think she said or did anything crazy. She just mentioned her concern about the dogs living together. Ryan is that guy who exaggerates. Some guys will make their wives seem crazy, but they're really not. And although she's afraid of pretty much everything, I don't think she has done anything so far, at least not on camera, that would warrant for him to call her high strung. Anyway, they meet up with Pastor Cal, and Brett opened up about how she had a crush on Ryan and that she trusts him, but Ryan is just not feeling the same way. And it was like an awkward moment. They have a lot of awkward moments. So they also talked about sex, and Ryan looks like he's pretty much ready to get it in, but Brett isn't ready yet. And it seems like Ryan is annoyed with her. I really don't know about Ryan. He says one thing, but his body language says another. His sarcasm and dry sense of humor is a turnoff for me. It's really a toss-up with these two. I don't think they're going to make it, but Brett seems to be open and willing, so we'll have to see what happens. On to Zach and Michaela. So Zach had told Michaela he was still positive for COVID, but he was actually negative, and he surprised her with a knock on the door and with some flowers, which was sweet. On the surface, they look great together, but it's really not looking good for them at this point. Zach had met Michaela's dog, and she said something about, you'll be with him for the next 10 or 12 years. And I was wondering, was she predicting the death of her dog or the end of their marriage? I was a little confused. And then they were having a conversation, and Zach mentioned he was looking forward to their first fight, which was a little weird to me. Then he left the apartment the next morning without telling Michaela, and she flipped out. She took all of her stuff and left. Mind you, they had a discussion about how they handle arguments, and Michaela said she wasn't the type to leave, but she sure enough packed up her stuff and left the apartment when Zach didn't answer her calls or reply to her text messages. I could understand being upset, but leaving the apartment was unnecessary. She was being dramatic, but honestly, I think he was testing her. Since he had said he was looking forward to their first fight, he might have just tried to test her and see how things would pan out, and it wasn't good. So she returned to the apartment to meet with Pastor Cal, and things go left. Michaela really needs individual therapy. She needs to sit down and really process her father's passing. She is holding on to an image of what a man is based on who he was, and Zach will not meet those expectations. Even though in the moment he said he would take on the responsibility of protecting her, it's a lot to deal with. And it was very painful to watch. She was crying. I was crying. I think even Zach shed a tear. He was trying to comfort her, but he was feeling rejected because she wasn't allowing him to be there for her. Even though she really wanted him to come for her, it was just a mess. Since they both have minimal relationship experience, it seems like it will be an uphill battle for these two. They need guidance and direction. Pastor Cal was giving them some sound advice, but they will need more than just a few sessions to create a solid foundation for their marriage. I do believe they want to be married, but they will have to do the work, grow individually, and show up for each other. And I'm not sure how that's going to come together. There is baggage on both sides, and I hope that the experts will step in and help these two, because they do have potential, but it's very shaky, and I'm just not sure how this is going to pan out. Last, we have Bao and Johnny. Where do I even begin? So they get their shared apartment, and Bao is inspecting the place and complaining about some things. Then they sit down to have dinner, and Johnny tells Bao he is going to go to his place for a few days because the honeymoon was draining and that he needs time alone. I was so disappointed in Johnny. I know he's not perfect, but that was a huge letdown, and I could tell, Bao was feeling some type of way, because my heart just sank for her in that moment when he said that, because that felt like a rejection. She expressed in her confessional that she had mixed emotions and that she was disappointed, and I definitely felt that. Spending time apart early on is a red flag. It's not really a good idea. Johnny is ready to run. He was saying in his confessional that she takes the fun out of things, and he's really concerned about their differences. And he actually went home. I was shocked. Bao mentioned he needed to work on his emotional maturity, and I agree. So many men lack emotional maturity, and they don't understand that leaving or shutting down is emotional abuse. So they visit each other's places and realize they have quite a bit in common, and they were playing around with some plastic swords at Johnny's place, which was cute. But then they meet with Pastor Cal, and that was another heartbreaking moment this episode. Val mentioned that she did not feel attracted and how she's constantly making the first move. So Pastor Cal asked Johnny if he was attracted, and he responded by saying her quirkiness and her giddiness was a turn off. And of course, the shady producers do a flashback of her quirkiness, and I just felt really bad for Bao. I can see why Johnny feels she acts in a childish manner based on those flashbacks, but Pastor Cal did let him know that, she's a grown woman and that they need to work on accepting each other. Bao looked so sad and defeated. It's really hard to express certain things to your partner at times, but it's better to be honest and give your partner an opportunity to understand where you're coming from so they can make some adjustments. She did make some adjustments during the honeymoon when he mentioned that she should, be in the moment. So she was present. And I do feel like Bao is willing to work with Johnny, but Johnny really needs to not run away, and he needs to stop focusing on their differences. I think Johnny just has abandonment issues. So he's trying to jump ship before she might find out something about him that she doesn't like and doesn't want to be with him. I see that Bao is really trying and she's really open and willing, and I hope Johnny will work with her. All of these couples could benefit from individual counseling. There's a lot of trauma amongst this group, and I hope the experts will be more consistent this season. These couples need a lot of guidance and support. So what do you all think about this episode? Comment your thoughts below. Join me here next week as things continue to unfold. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.